Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with RCGroups.com, and we're back. You might have heard me talk about this in RC News this week. It's the new series on CA glue, how-to, and tips with Mike from Robart. Mike, what's going on?
Hey everybody, how's everybody doing out there?
So today we have a totally new topic, as we do every time we're talking about Zap glue. And as I mentioned in the news yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I thought I would come in here and have tips of my own, but it turns out that I learn something every time we do a video. So hopefully you will too. And today we're talking about gel, which I will admit, Mike, I've never used it.
Never used it.
Never used gel.
Okay. Well, that's good. It's good and bad, I guess. It's good because, again, you're going to learn something. We do get a lot of people that really like gel. It's something different. So if you're used to the squeeze bottles and things like that you're used to putting a drip of this and a drip of that, you'll like this stuff.
I'm excited to see it.
It does really fill in. So you want to just jump right in?
Let's do it.
Okay, let me switch my cameras. So I guess I should apologize for my wrinkly background. Robart does not have a ironing board or an iron here, and I forgot to take this home to iron this. So
the good news is there's no laundry being done in the Robart offices.
Right. So Zap Gel. Let me get a little close up here. This is our larger tube, part number PT-26. PT-26. This is the larger tube. This is our 1 ounce tube. We also offer it in a smaller tube. This is our PT-27. Are those coming into focus for you, Jim?
Yes, sir. They look good.
All right. So, and then this is a 0.1 ounce. So very similar to that Zap CA single use. This is great for in your flight box.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Very easy to use. Through the demos today, I'll go ahead and use the smaller tube so everybody can see. So both tubes are the same. This is your piercing point on the outside of the cap. So when you get this from the store, you are going to have to take the top off because this is a fully sealed metal tube. And then you'll have to pierce the tube with the cap.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then screw this back on. Okay, now do not lose your cap. Okay, so in the previous videos when we were talking about burping the bottle and cleaning out the tip and things like that, this is a gel. So it's going to be very difficult to clean this out by burping it. Right. Some people I think you talked about it in a previous video where you put a nail or a pin or something like that in there. That's actually a very common way to clean out the tips is you insert a metal or tip or pin and then just pull that back out. If you leave the nail or the pin or something in there, it's going to adhere right to it. So make sure you take that. Right. Yeah. And then make sure you get your cap full. Put your cap back on nice and tight. Okay. So that's the gel.
And I know it would be hard to leave it standing straight up, but if you left it standing straight up, would it all gradually go back into the tube?
No.
Okay.
No. Because you basically have two things working against you. You've got just the viscosity itself. Okay.
Right.
And then you've got, these are metal tubes. So once you squeeze it, it holds its place.
You're displaced, right?
Yeah, so you would have a lot of gravity to have to pull against it.
Got it.
So one of the biggest advantages to gel is working on a vertical. So this is not going to sag. It's not going to drip. It's not going to fall down. It's not going to do any of that. So if you're working on a vertical piece and you want to get in and then put some glue down on a line, you can do that and you don't have to worry about it dripping down all the way onto the project. It'll get the light right so that they can see. And that just sits there. and then it is acceleratable also. So next week we're going to be talking about kickers, and this is where you can place the glue on, and then you can go ahead and spritz it, and it will cure it up right there.
And so, once again, I always assumed I was kicking the outside of the CA, but you're saying there's a chemical reaction throughout the CA when you hit it with kicker.
Yes, and now with gel, it gets it because it cures and it is so thick. It's actually, and we'll talk about that a little bit more with gels and kickers next week. But you can actually break that, and there will be some gel that is uncured on the inside, and I'll show you that next week also. Okay, so working on a vertical, great option for this. Now, the other nice thing about working with gel is you have a lot of working time. So we've been sitting here talking, what, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, something like that, ever since I put that on. That's still wet. So you have lots of working time with gel. And you can work it around and put it into place.
Right? So it's almost like an epoxy.
Almost, or like a putty even, right? Huh. I'm gonna get a darker piece of wood. Maybe it'll make it easier for everyone to see. So yeah, that's a little bit easier to see. So yeah, it is almost like an epoxy or a putty, right? And as tip, and this is because I have done this on accident. As you're working through things, and we're all used to maybe using your finger to push a caulk or something like that, right? Yeah. Don't do that with this. Been there, done that. Okay.
What happens when the gel hits your skin? Does it?
Just like any other CA, it bonds instantly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you're like, oh, now your finger's all full of, it's stuck to your project and whatnot. Right. So get yourself a stick or a putty knife or something like that, and then you can work that into whatever place you want. Continue to work that in, and it will fill. All right. So like we talked about last week with Slow Zap, as you start getting into the thicker, as you start getting into the thicker viscosities, you can really fill some larger gaps here and bond them together. So, I mean, I could put together a large gap, and we could squeeze gel into here, and you can fill those gaps and make sure that is all bonded together. And that's that viscosity working in here, and it's not hanging, it's not dripping out. Okay, and then like we'll talk about next week, spritz it, and then now it'll be locked together.
Question: is it sandable?
That's a great question. Yes, it is sandable, but it, like any other CAs, it's going to become rock hard. So it's going to be very difficult to sand. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you are going to have, I would say, if you're looking to sand and then go to paint and things of that nature, make sure that you just like anything else, make sure you do a test on something first, just to make sure you see how the paint that you're working bonds to the roughed up surface. Okay.
Another question: when I build a profile plane and I slide the wing into the fuse, there's always a gap, almost like the one you're showing right there. Mm-hmm. And my trick for that is baking soda and thin CA, but this looks like it's an alternative to that.
Yeah, you can use this, or you can use your 2-part epoxies.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. And this one will get in there. And what you can also do is combine the two. So if some modelers are not a fan of CAs in some of those real high vibration situations, so they like to put an epoxy in there.
Gotcha.
So what you can do then is, let me see if I can kind of put together that situation with some of my scraps of wood, just so that we can model it up, right? So, okay, so you're gonna you've got this here and basically that, right? Is that what you're
Okay.
looking to do? Right. So what you can do is squeeze a little bit of CA in a small portion and then spritz it with the accelerator so that you can continue to move on, or just let it sit and cure. Okay. And then now that if you spritz it right away, you can continue on, and then you can fill in all the other spots with epoxy. So
Right.
the
Okay.
CA will speed up your build,
Lock it down. Right.
lock it down, fill that large gap, okay, and then you can allow for the long set of the epoxies to bring in that that really strong set, the really strong strength to it.
So you have a little hybrid. Would you use that to lock it down, and then you could use the glue of your choice?
Correct. So, um, so yeah, and we get a lot of modelers. They really love having this in their toolbox of adhesives because of the vertical work,
Right.
the thickness. It's spreadable. That's a big one, is that you can spread it out and work it into an area without it just falling out.
Right. So a normal CA would literally just run down the wood onto whatever else is underneath it.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. And personally, I love these little ones. So I really do like these little tubes because you can use it all the way through, and then go open up a new one, open up a new one. Now, if you are working on a larger project, that's why we offer the gel, the larger tube. So in some of the other hobby uses of this are like your ceramic work. This is really good. Like we were talking about last week with the broken coffee cup.
Yeah. Oh
This is
yeah.
the perfect glue for the broken coffee cup. Okay, uh, that that ceramic is fixed perfectly with this stuff. Yep.
So I'm asking for something I bet doesn't exist. Is there, like, when you go and they give you a, I forget what it's called, but like a rack of beer, right, where you taste test like 9 different beers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a sampler set of for CAs or any sort of builder's kit or something like that?
Yeah. So each of the different distributors, like we've talked about, I'm with Robart, House of Balsa, and then Franctiano Enterprises. We've got those individually if they wanted to put those together. I know Robart does. Uh, if you wanted to jump over to our website, Jim, I'm not sure if you want to jump over there like you've done in the past. There you go. So you've got the builders, the different ones. You got a foam kit, we've got a builder's kit, you've got the ARF kit, and we've put together some of these glue kits so that you can try some different ones for sure.
And let me say, ask the question before I hit the website, and then of course I see it there. And the prices are super reasonable too.
Yeah, they are. We're going through those right now, and making sure that they're correct and whatnot for the Robart side. As many of you have seen with everything else, there has been price increases that we've had to bring in, this year, just like a lot of other things. And like you and I have talked about in the past, I'm honest to a fault, and a lot of customers will know that too. So we are going through those kits and making sure that they are priced appropriately with the current price increase that has occurred.
So I have to tell you that I went upstairs yesterday, and my wife said that my son had broken another plastic tray out of the refrigerator.
Oh no.
And I thought, oh, I better order my CA with the brush applicator.
Yep, the PT-100, the Zappa app with the brush on. Yep.
So that is on the list because I'm gonna have to fix it. So these ship directly from your warehouse?
Yeah, these ship from Robart. Yep.
Let's go through the process here. We are doing this all without rehearsal.
Yeah.
So here's our combat or our
Yeah, a foam
combo
mounting
pack.
pack. Yeah, so this is a mounting pack. Let me flip my camera real quick so everybody can. You don't have to look at a blank screen. I don't know why you'd want to look at me anyway, but yeah, that's the foam kit or the foam mounting pack.
And what kind of shipping do you guys usually use?
We do U.S. Postal Service for orders under $100 and glues that are not ORMD. So ORMD products have to go ground. So anything under $100, we can use U.S. Postal Service. Otherwise, it goes FedEx at over $100.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
Well, so we've been talking about gel, and once again, I hate to admit that I've never used it, but I totally see the application where you don't want to put glue on wood and have it literally just fall off the wood straight down into your components or whatever else.
yeah. And working it into an area. And as you are doing the repair side of it, you have a large break and there's shards and you can't get a good tight wood to wood mesh up. And so you've got, let's say you got a lot of this, that gel will fill all of that in. And that's where that viscosity really comes in. It's a wonderful product for it.
So I want to get, we're towards the end of the segment here. What do you have planned for the weekend? Do you have any RC related or glue related weekend activities?
This weekend, for myself, I'm actually volunteering up in central Wisconsin. A lot of people may know that one of my big hobbies is waterfowling, duck hunting, and goose hunting, and things like that. And I'm actually volunteering for the Horicon Marsh Learn to Hunt program, where we take kids out for their first time and introduce them to the outdoors, introduce them to the sport. And so Wisconsin's got a waterfowl expo, and I'm out doing that. My business partner, Dan Wenzel, a lot of people know him.
I know Dan.
He's
Dan Wenzel?
Dan Wenzel. Yeah, he's my business partner over here at Robart.
Okay.
He's actually out. He's meeting with a full scale guy, and we are talking about maybe a product for the full scale side. And we met with him last night, and so we'll maybe down the line, once we get things put together, you and I will have to talk about some of the full scale stuff maybe that we could be doing. But he's going to go meet with a pilot and an instructor tomorrow about this product and continuing the conversation there. So and on the glue side, with the expo, what we're finding more and more of the adhesives are in some of the carvers. So
right.
I know you and I talk. Your forum is a lot about the RC aircraft, right? RC cars, planes, and trains,
Quads,
things
boats,
like that.
yeah, you name it.
Right. But we do service other industries, and one of those little niche industries are carvers. People that like to, carve decoys or carve wood and spin pens and things like that.
Custom made pens, custom knives.
Yep. And so I'm going to be talking with some of the carvers also, and some people in certain industries, they're kind of like, oh, why are you talking to those people, right? Well, what it does is we diversify Zap and we continue to expand it. That gives us the opportunity to learn more.
Right.
And then we can bring a new product to the RC community, right?
It's like sending an astronaut to the moon, and then we're rewarded with Tang, the new breakfast. That's a kind of an old
the
concept.
Totally artificial beverage, right?
Yes.
The best thing for you, right? Yes. Yeah. I don't think
awesome. Well, man, it sounds like
the naturalists today would like Tang, right?
Tang, right. Sounds like you're super busy out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it is going to be a good weekend. And what about yourself? You got anything going on?
Well, we're gonna hit the swap meet, and I usually every weekend I have a major truck project that involves me laying under my '64 Chevy. But there's only one little thing. Okay, I'm going to jinx myself here. I'll just knock on wood and say no major projects this weekend. I need to mow, that's for sure. And of course, I've got a new guitar idea that I'm going to work on over here. So
Okay.
that's the big plan.
There you go.
Well, everybody, we have been talking about Zap Gel. We have a whole series on the different kinds of zaps that you need, or, from thin to zap a gap to brush on. And I've got to say, I'm most excited about the kicker portion of the show. I remember when I found out about kicker after using CA, and I thought, how have I been living without kicker? So we're going to find out the benefits of kicker, when you should use kicker, when you shouldn't use kicker, and then weird chemical questions I have about kicker in general.
Yeah, definitely. And that's next week. I think what we're going to start this show off with next week is we'll do kind of a circle back to all of the four main CAs, just so everybody can see the viscosities, right?
To see how it works with the kicker itself.
Yeah, we're going to do the kickers with them, but also I'll put a block of wood together. I'll put a piece of balsa together, and then I'll put a drip of the thin. I'll put a drip of Zap CA Gel. I'll put a drip of slow, and then I'll put a dollop of the gel, so that everybody can see when we've been talking about viscosities and watch it how it moves down through that block of wood. And I think that will really answer a lot of questions for people. And they say, okay, when should I use this? Or what really is the difference in the viscosity between the two, or between the four, so I should say.
Great. All right, everybody. We've been talking to Mike from Robart. We've been talking about Zap Gel. I'm Jim T. Graham with RC Groups. We want to thank everyone who watches the videos. Be sure to share them. And if you have any questions, post them in the comments below, and we'll try to answer those in our next one. Mike, thank you so much for your time.
Have a good one.